With YouTube attacking alternative media, please consider supporting the channel via Patreon for just $1 per month. Link below. Today was a fun day on YouTube. Woke up to Sargon of Akkad, a person I've known for a few years, a guy I consider a friend, being locked out of his account and chalking it up to, well, his political ideology being under attack from the powers that be at Google and YouTube. And he's got good reason to think that. He's been targeted before for a multitude of reasons over the course of the past couple of years, but ultimately Sargon, he's just a big old puppet dog. He's a good dude. But in a video I did talking about that particular subject, there was something I looked at, which was this story right here, something I didn't go into good detail on, and that was YouTube says new human moderators mistakenly punished some far-right pro-gun creators. Now, this is what boils down to what's known as the YouTube purge. It was a tag that was created by this particular mishap. Now, at no point is any part about this good. At no point is any part about this okay, and YouTube acknowledges that. But that ultimately is what got Sargon of Akkad locked out of his account. And I got confirmation from a YouTube employee earlier today who did email me under, anonymously. Well, confirmed identity, but, I can't say who it is. Now, it says here, YouTube says that new human moderators mistakenly removed far right-leaning and pro-gun videos and channels yesterday as the world's biggest video platform struggles to combat a new rash of conspiratorial and extremist content in the wake of last month's Florida high school shooting. Here's the sad thing about that. It's not just the Florida shooting. It's Vegas, right? It's Pizzagate. It's all of these other scandals that have happened that find a home on YouTube, that find a home through conspiracy videos and people out there that believe that everything they read on the internet is 100% realistic, having no actual evidence to back it up. Case in point, Pizzagate. Big one. Big controversy at the end of 2016. Provenly false. Right? The allegations that James Alefantis' Comet Ping Pong pizzeria in Washington, D.C. held an underground child sex dungeon was proven false when a guy by the name of Edgar M. Welch, stormed the pizzeria in the middle of the day with a gun, cleared the place out, fired off 1 or 2 rounds while searching, trying to find the underground dungeon, came up empty-handed, and he's in jail for 4 years. That kind of action is one of the things that happened as a result of those videos. He even says himself that Alex Jones and InfoWars was a key reason why he did what he did. So YouTube, of course, is trying to combat this kind of information, gaining lots and lots and lots of traction. Some have argued that it's their opinion, therefore protected under First Amendment, free speech, freedom of expression, and should not be targeted. And that is inherently true. I don't disagree with that. But they're trying to keep, well, as far as they know, fake news from becoming a trending topic that then misinforms millions of people who will not do the adequate research to determine whether or not it is real or fake. I think we all have family members that are like that too. Right? The people that call you up at 2 a.m. and go, "Did you hear? Aliens, man." I have family members that do that. Maybe that's why I'm a bit more on the bitter side, to be honest with you. Now, the Outline reported yesterday that several conspiracy theorist channels and pro-gun channels were being removed by YouTube, including Titus Forrest, InfoWars, Jerome Corsi, and the Military Arms channel. These actions were taken by the service following an embarrassing fiasco in which a video falsely claiming that one of the survivors of the Florida shooting, David Hogg, was a crisis actor, reached the top of YouTube's trending feed. And even though it's been proven that David Hogg is not a crisis actor, there are certain groups out there that are still trying to push the narrative. In fact, 4chan's poll board, the poll Twitter account, is still, as of today, trying to push the narrative that David Hogg is a crisis actor. This is where we are right now in terms of political information and dissemination. It's getting worse and it's getting worse. And that's why, in part, this kind of crap keeps happening. But shortly after the video and channels were removed yesterday, YouTube sharply reversed course, stating that as it aims to build a team of 10,000 humans to moderate content this year, new staffers made some faulty calls. As we hire rapidly and ramp up our policy enforcement teams throughout 2018, newer members may misapply some of our policies during the mistaken removals, a spokesperson told Bloomberg. We're continuing to enforce our existing policies regarding human or harmful and dangerous content. They have not changed. We'll reinstate any videos that were removed in error. And that's true. And a lot of them are getting put back. Like I said, Sargon's channel's back. And him and I had a conversation about that earlier today anyway, before he got his channel back. So, and I'm glad he did. Now, I like what Horrorpunks there says. Got to give the conspiracy theorists the right to be wrong. Absolutely. And at no point am I advocating for anyone's channel or voice to be taken down. But there are people out there that do willfully spread misinformation and disinformation because they know how to manipulate the algorithm as a way to get profit. And in fact, it's one of the things that YouTube itself has been trying to change. And it's one of the reasons why I floated the idea about there being manipulation and interference from outside sources to push particular channels and particular thoughts and opinions and videos to the forefront using a lot of automated bots. And while YouTube itself has not come out and directly said that, their actions when it comes to the new monetization policy, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours watched in a year, somewhat backs up that theory. Now, it goes on to say, Bloomberg notes that YouTube has not previously shuttered channels in a broad sweep, but has rather focused on removing individual videos that are in violation of its policies. Nevertheless, the incident illustrates the tricky balance it must strike in terms of maintaining a safe space for users and also fostering free speech. And this really is where YouTube is going to have the biggest amount of problems. Because, as I said in the video about Sargon, when they're hiring thousands and thousands and thousands of new employees, there are going to be errors. They go through a training program. They're going to have to learn what is or what isn't acceptable, and they're going to have to learn to put aside their particular personal opinions as a way to, not do this kind of stuff. And they did. And as I've said before, I was having trouble earlier this week with videos that should not have been impacted through manual review, getting flagged, getting demonetized entirely. That shouldn't have happened, but it did. Now we know why. Now, there are people out there, too, that are trying to argue with me. Oh, it's not true. It's more conspiracy. Why are you lapping up YouTube's jizz? Why are you taking it all down, you shill? Because in this case, Occam's razor applies. It really does. The idea here that they're hiring new employees from the San Francisco region, where this kind of liberal bias is alive and well, not wholeheartedly, not completely over the top. None of the, I don't know if it is or isn't. I'm merely pointing out that there is a large liberal bias there. And if it's a younger workforce that's coming in at a lower wage, that needs the job and they're getting hired, they may not have the full fundamental understanding of nuance in terms of political opinion, i.e. in regards to free speech and free expression versus hate speech. Right? YouTube has been trying to crack down. I did also mention last night on the stream the Atomwaffen, the neo-Nazi organization that has been linked to 5 direct or indirect killings. So they've been linked to a couple that have actually happened, and then they've also been linked to ones that they assume were done underneath them. And they have been removed because they were using YouTube as a recruitment tool for their particular neo-Nazi activities, as well as Discord. So there are actual legit reasons why YouTube is acting the way that it's acting. The downside to it is that it simply boils down to growing pains. And those growing pains are going to cause problems. But the good thing here, and this is a good thing, is that they are aware now that the problem exists. YouTube didn't try to just sweep it under the rug and chalk it up to a user error or some other nonsense. They legitimately said, hey, listen, we know this is a problem. We have to fix it. This is why it happened. And they're being upfront. Now, granted, you could sit there and not believe any of that and sit there and look at it and go, this is a corporate press release or a corporate statement. It's clearly all lies and they're trying to purge all conservatives from YouTube. To which case I simply have to respond back with just, 2 examples from 2017 alone. If YouTube was in fact trying to purge conservative content, why is it that both Steven Crowder, who is a conservative comedian, if there is such a thing, and Paul Joseph Watson, who is a soy shilling InfoWars pundit, or puppet really, Both of them, on their own personal YouTube channels, have garnered over 1 million subscribers, and they get hundreds of thousands of views a day. If YouTube was trying to inherently get rid of conservative voices, those two guys would be the forefront of the chopping block. They'd be right at the top of the line. They'd be cut out. Why? Because they would be, well, the loudest voices in the room. And in some respects, they are. So YouTube would have done everything it could to make sure that they went away. They haven't, because neither one of them have violated policy. That's how it boils down to. Now, the other people that are learning this for the first time, think of it kind of like when Donald Trump has his had his account, suspended, right, on Twitter, and it was an employee on their way out the door, right, low-level employee that probably shouldn't have had access to that, but did. There's not always safeguards in place for these sort of things. Not when you're trusting a human to be the person that's meant to manually review this stuff and manually act on behalf of the company. There's always going to be a problem, but at least we are aware now that it exists. And we now have knowledge and information and acknowledgement of a problem. Therefore, YouTube then can be held even further accountable if this is to happen again. It does finish up here by saying, it is unclear how the incident will impact InfoWars, an outlet owned by Alex Jones that represents one of the biggest conspiracy peddlers in all of YouTube. After receiving one strike for video also claiming Hogg was a crisis actor, The Hill reported yesterday that InfoWars got another strike, which would result in a two-week suspension. However, Jones subsequently said that the second strike has been removed and the channel appears to be posting videos as usual. Now, it's in these situations oftentimes where you get one and then other people try to mass report others. And it may be entirely possible that there are going to be bad actors at Google that come on in, get this job, and then use it as a way to start targeting individuals, start targeting people, based on their viewpoints. And that could be a thing. At no point do I think that could not be a reality. As we've seen, the people who are doing this, getting, they got busted for doing it. They were just having, problems. And I do believe that people who are coming in may not understand. So there's going to be growing pains. The way that I see it is that 2017 was a deconstruction year of YouTube. 2018 will be a rebuilding year of YouTube. As I told Sargon of Akkad earlier today, Logan Paul's forced video was probably one of the best things that could have happened to all of us who are afraid of this kind of retaliation on a mass wide sweeping scale. 2017 was that retaliation on a massive wide sweeping scale. It was. There's no two ways about it. The apocalypse kicked all of our asses. Everything kicked all of our asses, but we were being punished for the actions of other people. Now, in the wake of Logan Paul's multiple controversies, what we've seen is individuals that are being punished for their individual actions and not having it come at us as a whole. So for in that case, we're all better off. The only question now remains is whether or not YouTube is legitimate in how they plan on attacking the problems with fake news and fake media and videos that are clearly not true but are meant to cause a division and meant to be full of shit, and whether or not they're going to be able to strike these things down. Honestly, I don't know. But and to be honest, this is my job, this is my career, this is my platform. I love the platform. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt here. I'm not going to lie. This isn't really the most objective thing on the planet. But all we can do now is wait and see. We have information. They've given us information. And if they screw up, we can use this to hold their feet to the fire. Which could very well happen sooner rather than later.